What's up, everyone? It's the 256 crew coming at you for another TFS production podcast artist interview. As always, I'm joined with DJ Big Dooley and Jay Stone, aka Onyx Corwin.
What are y'all?
I'm your host, Austin Green, and today we've got a new episode featuring our very good friend, Ryan Lang. How you doing?
Sir.
Doing good, guys. How about y'all?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good.
Thank y'all for having me
excited
on.
to have you, man.
And happy to have you. So shout out to the last podcast. Check it out with Brookwood Youngin. As always,
that was a good one.
Like and comment and share it for us. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, and who you want to see going forward. So let's get into it. We'll pass it around to the left. Y'all, just how you been?
Fucking working, man. Working, busy. Got some things coming up. Is this getting released next Thursday, right?
Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, yeah. So when you're listening to this tomorrow, pull up to the Nest Bar and Grill. DJ Big Dooley over here and myself gonna be turning up. Got some other people gonna come join the party, but you won't know if you don't follow us on the social medias at TFS Prod Official _ on Instagram, to TFS Productions. On Facebook. We got some exciting shit coming, but I'll pass it along this way. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing pretty good, man. I had a Big Shot Brothers the other night. We had that place was
Had that bitch packed out.
Man.
Man, it was crazy. About 45 minutes into it, people were lining up outside the door, and
Around the building type shit.
Yeah.
before the end of the night, they were wrapped around the building, and 1:30 in the morning, we're making last call, and there's still people lined up
Damn.
that haven't gotten in.
That's so wild.
So I mean, it was crazy. It was a fun night though. So, but how about you, Ryan? How you been, man?
I've been good, guys.
What you been up to?
Pretty much just working through the summer,
Mm-hmm.
hanging out with my girlfriend Erin, and playing a bunch of golf. I hadn't even done much fishing lately.
Hell yeah, dude.
Playing golf, not actually doing good at it, but
Yeah.
I'm getting to it.
I feel you on that, man. I didn't know you've been playing. That's good to hear.
Yeah. Well, I always would play with my granddad, up until I was about 15 years old, and then I just quit playing. When high school hit, I just kind of quit, lost interest. But recently this year, just really got back into it. And
You should be a businessman.
yeah,
Take people on golf trip.
I couldn't teach them nothing, but I could take them.
Yeah. Negotiate out there on the course.
Yeah, for sure.
We're going to have to get out there sometime here soon.
Oh yeah,
I haven't played all summer, but
we'll hit the links this fall.
yeah, let it cool down a little bit. Well, good. So let's get into it, man. Why'd you start doing this in the first place?
Pretty much, it goes back to when I was 15 years old, 15, about to be 16. And I always, when I was growing up, had an interest for music, specifically country back then. I'd listened to, the first one, people will laugh at me, the first artist that I really loved when I was a kid was Kenny Chesney.
Hey.
Then it went to, people can talk crap, but I love the beach music. Love it. But anyways,
Yeah, man.
I love Hank Jr., really got into Johnny Cash, stuff like that, but when I was about 15, I really started wanting to learn guitar. And then I just kind of picked up my dad's and kind of taught myself. YouTube videos, learning chord shapes, stuff like that. Just started putting songs together. It was a slow process. Took a year or two to really get to where I could play a full song. Probably about 3 years before I could play one and sing it. So it took time, but by the time I was 17, 18 years old, I was getting to it for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember you in high school.
Yeah.
You would bring that shit, and there was a certain situation that happened.
Yeah.
You would
How
go
did I know
around
this was
school.
gonna get mentioned?
You would go around the school singing that song, and everybody knew who that shit was about.
Yeah.
But we didn't say it.
It
But we
wasn't
knew.
easy. I don't think I've played that song since we were
Since the Crooners,
since
yeah,
the Crooners
Crooner
era.
days.
But I really got into it because it was a good outlet. I mean, keeps you out of trouble. And when you're down, it
really is there to
fun.
help. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And for those of y'all that don't know, Ryan used to be part of Jay's band, Sunshine Crooners. Ryan,
Still is.
Still is. He's an honorary member, of course, always and forever will be. But, you know, he needed to take a little break, and we're absolutely fine with that.
Oh, yeah. Just had to take a hiatus. I got to the point where I let the frustration almost, like I'd get frustrated at myself, and it was just kind of a toxic merry-go-round where I wasn't enjoying it as much as I should have been. So I kind of had to take a step back. But now I've definitely, over the past month, picked back up with the interest in it and kind of looking at it in not I'm trying to get success out of this, but more I'm doing this for myself and for my soul.
Yeah. I think that's the best way to look at it.
Going back to where I came from on it. Almost.
Yeah, like I gotta remind myself that too, because like we're like trying to start a business. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so we have people come in all the time, and like sometimes this shit does feel like a job, but then like I have these days where he'll hear me just sit over here doodling on FL. I'll pull up a loop and I'll start, and I'm like, yeah, this doesn't hit. And then the next day I'll come back and do that same thing, and I get excited as fuck because like stuff starts to fall in line, and you remember like you didn't do this because you were looking to make some sort of ROI, return on investment. You were doing it because like shit made you happy and made a difference in how you felt. You know what I'm saying? So I completely understand.
When you start letting the business side of it and the success, wanting the success, it'll ruin it for sure. There's a balance because you can't just not care about that stuff either if you're taking it serious.
Yeah.
But you got to make it fun.
Can't be all about the Benjamins. You got to have some soul in it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Got to have some soul.
Yeah. So, man, tell me, who's been an inspiration to you starting a career in like country rock music?
Probably the number one, which I guarantee you, y'all all three could probably see this one coming. Eric Church.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Growing up, I mean, those albums, the one that really stuck out to me that came out when I was 15 was The Outsiders.
That's
that one,
great album.
That one struck a chord with me because I always felt like, I mean, I wasn't just an outcast necessarily, but I'm sure y'all could relate. You're just kind of an outsider.
Felt a little bit different.
Yeah, a little bit different, outsider from the in crowd and all that kind of stuff. And that just, and of course, it being more of a rock album than a country album.
Yeah.
It fired me up for sure.
Hell yeah.
But then even past that, going through a bad breakup in high school, Mr. Misunderstood came out. Same thing there. It's like all his releases hit a pivotal moment in my life. Yeah. So it's hard.
That's a hell of a coincidence.
Yeah. Hard not to see that as an inspiration, but that's always been who I've kind of pulled my, I guess, sound from, and I mean what I've enjoyed playing the most at the shows I've played, stuff as far as the covers go and all that.
Hell yeah, those covers were fun as fuck.
Yeah.
Especially That's Damn Rock and Roll.
Oh man.
That was fun.
That was the first song we ever played live together.
It is.
It was the opening song.
It is, yeah. Huh.
To say the least, I was definitely nervous being the first one to sing. Oh man,
I bet that shit tore you up. Before
my stomach was like, just in a knot. But it was so fun.
I bet once it got going, though, that shit kind of all faded away.
That was definitely my number one. But lately, I'd say Sturgill Simpson is another good one. Good. I love his Peep the Shirt.
Yeah, big time.
But Sturgill Simpson, what I like about him is every album is completely different. You start with a totally country album, to like a psychedelic country album, to a soul jazz album, to a hard rock alternative album.
Yeah.
Then go into bluegrass. He's crazy in a good way.
But motherfucker be doing everything.
And lyrically, every song is amazing. So
his storytelling is on some next level shit.
Yeah.
His storytelling is crazy.
Yeah. Man, you really put me on Eric Church. Not gonna lie. I heard you sing his shit before I ever really bothered to give it a listen, and I was kind of bummed out with country music for a while because I listened growing up, like 80s, 90s, early 2000s stuff.
Yeah.
And I felt like that country pop kind of shit.
Yeah, dude, fucking Florida Georgia Line.
And I got to where I just tuned out from that whole genre, and I'm happy that you're so about him because I wouldn't have gave him a look.
And who else is that pop country motherfucker? Thomas Rhett. Thomas Rhett, dude. Get
Thomas,
the fuck.
man.
Dan and Shay, fucking
Like Sam Hunt.
Kane Brown, Sam Hunt.
Yeah.
All those motherfuckers.
Yeah.
What the hell were they thinking?
Yeah.
What record executive was like, this is the new wave?
Well, Thomas Rhett kind of also already had an end. You know who his father is, don't you?
Mm-mm.
Rhett Akins.
Yeah.
No.
'Cause
His name is Thomas Rhett Akins.
Yeah.
That's
his name.
wild.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Did not
wild.
So
know
he
that.
already kind of had the end through his father. That's how he really.
I was about to say, he's
No,
really not
I
even
mean,
that good.
His father, his father didn't really put him on, but he did kind of have that family name.
For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
You know, his father definitely didn't put him on because he started doing bar shows and house parties, shit like that. But he got up there because his name just happened to be the same,
As his
basically
father,
the
yeah.
exact same as his father's.
father's.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Attractive country man with a famous father. It don't matter if he's the best singer or not, or guitar player. You could be a three chord strum chump, and you could be fucking famous.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And to go back on what you said about like how I put you on there at church and all that, that
Yeah.
brings me back to the nights at the creek lot.
God.
When we would
Mm.
I mean, that was so fun. That was some of the most fun moments of me playing music for people. I
Yeah.
would either say it was when I played shows with y'all or whenever we'd be out at the creek lot and we'd be singing.
Yeah.
The ones that stuck out to me was Simple Man by Leonard Skinner that we'd sing all the time.
Yeah.
Couldn't not sing that one.
Yeah.
And Old Friends, Old Whiskey, Old Songs
Yeah,
by Eric
that's
Church,
good.
which is not even a release song. It's just one that
I
he
didn't know
plays
that.
live.
Huh.
He played it on the last song of the Birmingham show this year. And I
Okay.
about shed a tear thinking of, like I was about to cry
Yeah.
thinking
Real?
about that.
That's
yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
Did you go to that show?
Yeah, it was
Fuck yeah.
me, Aaron, Jake, and my cousin Bailey that went.
Nice.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, it was a fun show for sure.
Heck yeah.
Who all played there? Who's
It
on the
was
card?
Just him
Just him.
from 9 o'clock to midnight.
Shut
Damn.
Non-stop.
3 hours.
No intermission, nothing.
That's fucking lit.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a hell of a show.
yeah.
Yeah. I was explaining to a buddy those creek lot nights. And man, it's so funny. I remember so many times, you'd pop out the guitar, go for like 30 minutes or something, and y'all want me to stop playing or whatever, and hell no.
Yeah.
By that point, we were already drunk as shit, so we were all just like, fuck no.
That
So
was
we
some
don't
fun
care how it
times.
sounds. We're going to sing along because we're drunk.
Oh hell yeah. Good
Those were some
times,
fun
man.
nights, dude.
Yeah.
Those were
Yeah.
fun nights. Like New Year's.
Mhm.
Never forget the New Year's night we had out there. That,
No,
shit,
yeah.
that shit was lit.
I can't believe we didn't shoot fireworks that night. I don't think we didn't want to fool with it.
I don't think we really had a big enough area, open area
Yeah,
to really
it's
do it.
kind of dangerous with all the
Yeah, all the
stuff.
foliage everywhere.
We'll set something on fire.
Shoot 'em straight into the creek.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for real,
I
dude.
think we did shoot like bottle rockets in the creek, but that was it.
Hell yeah.
I tell you what, living at the creek now,
Yeah.
most peaceful thing.
Dude,
love
I
it.
bet, dude. It must be so nice to wake up in the morning and have a fucking big ass creek
Yeah.
right in front of your place, and it like looks beautiful. And like you have a you have a shitload of animals out there, not just wild, but like animals that have like adopted you just as much as like
They'll adopt me for a week, then they'll run off because those dogs I posted on my
Yeah.
Snapchat and my Instagram the
Yeah.
other day,
Mhm.
they dipped out Sunday.
What?
They just left.
they're just like, all right, he was cool.
Yeah, someone took a picture of them and like posted them like on the Snap Map, I think. And they
Yeah.
were like at No Worries Kayak, which is like 3 miles down the
Yeah,
creek.
it's a stroke.
So like what they did is they jumped in the water, swam down with some kayakers that Sunday,
Yeah.
and then but I can't keep a dog to save my life out there because I had one for a week earlier this year in January, and he got hit on the highway.
Awesome.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, but I do have my cat, which is contained, and she's the sweetest thing.
Yeah, the cat is cool.
Yeah.
Cool kitty. Too kitty.
Had to get you a small dog leaving the side of
Yeah,
your
yeah,
dog.
for
Can't have no
Like a
big dog.
Yorkie or something.
Yeah, Yorkie or Chihuahua or something.
Yeah.
Lap dog.
So man, I understand you make and record music yourself. So
Yeah.
what kind of vibes do you look for whenever you sit up and get started recording?
Pretty much with every song that I've written, I'll kind of go from I'll talk about the writing process first because I don't think I've ever really written and then recorded in the same session.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to do that. But it's like inspiration will just hit me. If I try to force it, if I sit down and say like I'm going to write a song about this, it won't happen. It's like I'm trying to force it. I get frustrated with myself. It just feels too unauthentic. But pretty much every song that I have released, it has been something that's like, oh, an idea hits me. I sit down and it just flows.
Yeah.
It just flows out of me, pretty much. Every single one of them. Throughout the past 4 years. So that's pretty much my writing process. Just when the inspiration hits me, harness it. So if I try to sit down, even if I try to sit down and write a specific album like I'm going for this, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. So like, do you start out with a chord progression or do you start out with the lyrics or?
I start out with a chord progression. Like, say that this inspiration hits me. Like, I've got to write this song. I'll get some words in my head, just maybe a phrase that kind of hits or something like that. And, all right. So, what was I saying?
Start with the chord progression.
Chord progression, thank you. The chord progression is kind of what I start with. I'll get a phrase in my head, like of a lyric, and then I'll come up with a chord progression to kind of harness that emotion.
Yeah.
Almost to reflect that.
Yeah.
It usually doesn't take me long whenever I get that inspiration. There's been times where the chord progression will just hit, or I'll go 2 or 3 tries and be like, oh yeah, this is it. It doesn't ever take long. I don't ever have to sit on it too much or anything like that.
Yeah.
But and then it just get that chord progression, get the structure of the song, like whether the chord progression is going to change in the chorus or not, or if I throw in a bridge or something like that, and then I'll just start writing front to back of the song. And rarely do I ever have I ever gone back and edited lyrics after.
Okay.
Maybe a few times just to kind of get the flow of a phrase down or something. 'Cause,
Yeah.
certain ones, if it's too long-winded, it'll mess you up on the next or the timing.
Yeah, like running out of breath and stuff. Yeah.
Stuff like that. I'll kind of tweak, but rarely have I ever just completely cut one out and replaced it with something else or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I do that shit all the time.
There ain't
Like,
nothing wrong with it.
I
sure.
recorded a full song the other day. Everything except like background vocals and stuff. But like I recorded like my main lines, and I'm gonna rewrite the whole verse and re-record the hook because I didn't like how it translated into the recording. So like I'm just gonna re-record all that shit, the whole shebang. And there's a feature artist on it too. I might get him to re-record his stuff, only so it'll match, intensity and the vibes and shit. And I like what he said, so I'm gonna like, because he's a freestyle artist, so like, he'll get behind the mic and it's bar by bar. Like he'll be like, all right, plug me in. He'll say some shit, think about some shit. All right, keep going, and then like I'll press record for like the 3rd time, and then he'll plug in, punch in. All right, let me hear that all back real quick. Play it all back for him. Blah blah. All right, come on, punch me in. Bang. Might take like 2 or 3 tries. Same, and it goes on like that.
Yeah.
But I like what he said and like how he delivered it. So like I might just like copy his lyrics down for him and like be like, hey, these are your phrases. Let's re-record this with a better energy. Not really better, but like a more cohesive energy. Yeah. Because especially like when people do the bar by bar shit, a lot of times you can hear it. Like you ever listen to rappers and you're like, wow, that didn't sound like together, or like
and
words
almost choppy.
Yeah, words overlap, or like the end of a phrase overlaps the beginning of the next phrase because say that phrase ends on 1, but the next phrase starts on count 4 of the next bar.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like shit like that. So like, I feel like it's better to always like record it 1 takes if possible, and then piece together like Frankenstein. like the best parts of those one takes from each other to the next.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I do that shit way too often, and like it'll even happen during the writing process. Like I type out a line on my phone on the documents that I'm writing in, and like I don't like that shit. So I'll go to Rhyme Zone. Shout out Rhyme Zone, bro.
Yeah.
Y'all deserve some fucking royalty checks for, I swear, almost every fucking song. I swear, especially like independent artists. Y'all best look to get some royalty checks. I'll pay you $100 a year. I don't give a shit. I use you guys. Rhymezone.com. If you're writing songs, go check them out. But shameless plug anyway. Yeah, I'll use fucking Rhyme Zone and like look at the last line that I said before that and like what rhymes with this, or like if I'm wanting to like A-B rhyme scheme instead of like A-A-B-B, I'll go to like, all right, I'll type out one line and then I'll think about the next one and be like, but what could I end it with? And then I'll go back to Rhyme Zone. Okay, what rhymes with this first word? And then I'm not gonna lie, there was one time, I think it was a Crooners song. I think it was Walking in Vain that I was writing that I didn't know the definition of a word to, but I felt like it went, so I wrote it anyway. And then it wasn't until after we had played it at our first show that I looked up the definition of that word and found out when I went on a limb, it paid off because the definition of the word, the definition of the word that I used in the song actually meant what I thought it meant.
Yeah.
Because I was just guessing. It was like a 50-50 shot. All I knew is it rhymed and it needed to be plugged in real quick so we could finish the song. But yeah, man, writing songs is wild.
It's a weird. It's almost like, I mean, there's times when it'll turn into almost like a spiritual thing.
Yes, dude. Like everything is fucking falling in line. Yeah. It's like this was destiny.
It's
this
like
was
your soul pours into it.
Yeah.
And like as far as, because that's like my writing process, but as far as actually recording, because I do think I've done things way different. Like I got an album and one single on Apple Music, Spotify, and all that. But all of them I recorded myself. Some of them I recorded when I lived with Jake in the house right there, and he helped me. I mean, he did a bunch of lead parts, stuff like that. Shout out to Jake McGarity.
McGarity,
for
badass,
sure.
Badass.
Most awesome lead guitarist. If you're wanting something that's like a rock blues vibe, he's your guy, for sure.
Another Crooners guy.
Yeah, another Crooners guy, for sure. But he helped me out. Well, I think out of my album, I got 10 songs on it. I think he did lead on 5 of them. Whenever I go through the list, I'll shout them out on those. I give them some credit, so if they go listen, they'll know that was Jake.
Yeah.
But anyways, and pretty much the recording part, I didn't have as much fun with because it does get frustrating for sure,
dude. Yeah,
because something will happen. I mean, just one little string slip or something, I drop a pick, and now that I live in the camper by the creek, you'll hear trucks going down the highway, and
dude,
that has messed me up.
Tell me about it, dude. Living here with these thin ass walls and these thin ass doors on a I swear
on an intersection.
Dude, it's the busiest back street intersection in Jacksonville. I swear it is. And like there are fat ass like diesel trucks that come through here, like crotch rockets and motorcycles. Like yesterday, I was on FL and there was this fat ass like Harley, like the Harleys that are like cruisers with the front fork shield, but it's got the speakers built into it and shit.
Oh God. Blair.
Yeah.
Too.
Fuck it, dude. I heard everything 100% clearly, and like it was while I was working on FL, and I was just in my head. I was thinking like, I'm glad that shit didn't happen while I was recording a vocal or something, dude. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that shit is so annoying.
It is for sure because it'll always hit when you're getting your best take too.
Yes.
It will. But as far as that recording goes, least favorite part. But once I get everything lined up and all the recordings done, and everything kind of comes together in the mix, that's when the fun starts.
Yeah.
The production of it and everything, just tinkering with little things. That's probably the part, like we were saying, you kind of change up lyrics, stuff like that, and go through and change stuff up. That's the part where I'm
Enjoy.
That's where I enjoy it, but that's where I'm ticky.
Yeah.
And overthink. I'll start overthinking, like, maybe the guitar needs to be a little louder. Maybe I need to EQ this, stuff like that. But I always try to keep it. What I did on that album was try to make it sound like what it would be like if we played it live, like when we were in the band.
Yeah.
That's what I was going for. And for example, Old Soul Stuck in the New School.
Yeah.
When we played that, I feel like the recording sounded like we played it.
No, yeah, you did a really good fucking job on that, dude. If like a live setting was the setting that you were going for, like as far as like immersive sound, like that shit.
Like it's not
spot on.
It's not the most clear cut,
like studio recording.
But it's raw.
Yeah.
And it sounds almost like you had went to a show and heard it. That's kind of what I was going for on it. And I feel like I did pretty good with that.
Oh, you did for sure.
Well, let's see, man. I heard you've been doing work with the guys in the studio here. Tell me how you got in touch with them and how the sessions have been.
It's been a while because, like I mentioned earlier, I kind of had to take a hiatus and stuff, but every time that I've been here to work with Jay and work with like we've had BC Fox over, stuff like that. I never could line up with Jake being here though, but
yeah, dude, the one time Jake did come,
I think I was gone or something.
Yeah, you were gone, and I had accidentally slept right through like the time that he was here, or either I was going somewhere. I was probably at Brooke's old apartment, to be honest, and I just slept.
Yeah.
And I didn't even fucking realize that I was like sleeping through the valuable time that I fucking needed to happen for 2 months.
But I will say this, just like it was when we would play a live show, working with those guys, Jay, BC, Fox, and Jake, some of the easiest people to work with.
Good.
We had cohesion. It was like all of us were different, but we came together to make one sound, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because, like, for example, what you're doing, Jay, is completely different from what I'm doing. But every time that we've gotten together,
it's magic, baby.
It's like magic that happens.
It's magic, baby.
But, I was going to ask, kind of going back to the previous stuff, talking about the writing and all that. If y'all don't mind, I'd like to kind of go through each song, talk about each song.
Yeah, actually, let's do that. Let's get like a song album breakdown time.
Yeah.
Because like I'm curious about this myself. Like we've talked and everything, but I don't think like I've ever like picked your brain as to what you were going through in particular moments in your life. To where like I know some like it wasn't easy. It's about the high school breakup and fucking what's that rock song that you Old Soul Stuck in the New School. Like I know what that's about. But like as far as like the other songs on your discography, I like very little, if not any clue. So
I'd be glad to kind of go through it.
Absolutely,
for sure. I'll just go down the list. I'll start with Old Soul Stuck in the New School. That's the one we've mentioned the most so far. That song is the name is self-explanatory. Just like I mentioned earlier, kind of feeling like an outsider and stuff. I've always felt, to get more specific with it, I've always felt like I was more old school and had like more morals than the average everyday like country boy. Nowadays, if that makes sense. Like I mentioned in the song, like about treating a girl bad. I mean, I see this more with guys around here, girls around here, like treating a girl bad and you still win her over.
Yeah, like that. Like the nice guy finishes last type shit. Yeah,
it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just stuff like that. And then I even go into talking about like daddy's money 4-wheel drives and stuff like that. We see that stuff around here. I know
especially going to fucking Jacksonville High School, dude.
Yeah.
I can't tell you, bro.
Because they get like an entitled mindset and stuff. I'm going to get on a tangent about that if I'm not careful. And then in the last chorus, I talk about Jesus and the Lord and stuff. So it all goes I mean, just one verse to the next, and each chorus is different and kind of explains the verse of what I was feeling. Like I feel like I wouldn't, like I mentioned about believing in God and believing in Jesus stuff. Like I don't feel like I would know what to do if I didn't, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Been a lot of guidance and help as far as that goes, but that's kind of what that song's about. And to be more specific on when I wrote it the beginning of my freshman year of college. There was a week that my cousin, when he lived in Pleasant Valley, they wanted me to stay at their house that week because they had a cat and a dog that needed fed. And I decided, I mean, I'm Pleasant Valley, I'll just go stay out there and go to school, stuff like that. It was closer. But I just kind of, like I mentioned earlier, had the idea, picked up the guitar, and started writing stuff down.
That shit wrote itself.
Yeah, that's the song that I have not changed. Well, I'll take that back because I did add the last chorus recently to kind of go with that last verse.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't it like before?
Yeah, we would always cut it off.
Our first show.
We would always cut it off at the end of the last verse.
Yeah.
And then I added the chorus to it.
I do remember that shit.
So I take that back. I did add to it, but I never deleted anything.
Yeah.
So I just built off of it. Everything else stayed the same. And then the second song, this is one of my favorites on the album. It's called Duel with the Devil.
That is a good one.
And I wrote this beginning of last year. This is one of my more recent ones. So February 2021, there was a few days where I was like, didn't have anything to do, didn't have any classes. I think some classes that got canceled or something like that. No assignments, nothing. And probably had some money burning a hole in my pocket. So I decided, you know what? And Jake or no one could go. I said, I'm going to go to Daytona Beach and I'm going to go by myself. It was like 30 degrees here. Daytona Beach was 85 degrees in February.
Damn.
I went down there, just drove my old truck, went down there, hung out, just kind of did my own thing. And then just something about the word, you know how I mentioned the phrase would come to mind first.
Yeah.
Duel with the Devil kind of flowed out of my head. And I was like, I got to write something about that. I had my guitar in the hotel room. I wrote that song. Mm-hmm. And that one, I feel like people might have taken too literal. I remember my grandparents saying something about it. Because I meant, like, in that song I mentioned, it's pretty much, it goes from talking about addiction and the devil kind of grabbing a hold of you, but you're done with it. You're breaking out of it. And I mentioned alcoholism, and I mentioned quitting, like being addicted to pills and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Grandparents took that way too literal. I've never been an alcoholic or addicted to pills.
Yeah.
But to really, people can relate to that.
Yeah. It's like,
as an artist, I've been in a situation where I felt like the devil had a hold of me and I needed to break out of it. So that was a good way for other people to kind of relate to it and then also tell my own story.
Yeah, like a metaphor.
Yeah, for sure. So that one, like I mentioned, I was going to mention Jake. Shout out to Jake on Old Soul Stuck in the New School. He did the lead part on
Facts.
Forgot to mention that. But on Duel with the Devil, there's an outro. Like after the last chorus, there's a long, I think it's like a minute long or something, that Jake helped me with. Mm-hmm. Y'all got to check it out.
Cool.
I know. Cool. I think I've showed y'all.
Yeah.
It's like the perfect outro. As far as the lead goes, it's just the nastiest sounding guitar that I've ever heard. It's awesome. It fits the whole vibe of the song perfect. The third song was the silly song on the album. You know, you always got to have one of those thrown in there. Mm-hmm. But it still had its inspiration. I've dealt with, up till now, shout out to my girlfriend Erin. She's been amazing. Sweetest girl ever. But before I met her, every girl I had met was just no good.
Basket case.
Yeah. No good. But anyways, my friend Jackson Almerode was kind of going through the same thing. And
he's a good guy, too. Yeah. Whoever's fucking him up deserves to be fucked up.
He's got a good one now.
Okay,
good.
Good.
But heck, I think we met him about the same time. Maybe he did a little before. I'm getting off topic. But he came over when I lived with Jake, and he just straight up said, this is one where this one flowed out pretty well, but he co-wrote it with me. He's not even a musician. He co-wrote, the song's called My Life Ain't a Damn Love Song.
Hell yeah.
It's hilarious. But he co-wrote that song with me, and we harnessed the emotion of the moment. I think we wrote that song in 30 minutes. It was hilarious. Jake also did lead on that. That was sometime last summer when I wrote that. That was probably
that was kind of recent.
Yeah, that because I released my album in July. It was July 1st, 2021. I did remaster it and re-release it recently, but as far as all the songs on there, everything was pretty much done by April or May of 2021. But so it would have been about April when me and him wrote that. That was one of the more recent ones. The next song's The Ghost. Mm-hmm. That one's an interesting one that I feel like is one of the most slept on.
Yeah,
songs
I was about to
album.
say exact same thing, dude. I feel like that song is very slept on, and like top 3 songs that I've ever heard you do, like easily that one is top 3.
I wrote that one. I was at my creek lot by myself, and it was years ago. I mean, I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago, and I was still hung up on my ex from high school, and wrote it. And what, for anyone wondering what The Ghost is about, The Ghost is, ghost hunt. They haunt people. Yeah. They haunt your house or whatever. The ghost is the memory of a girl that you just can't get rid of. So you're getting haunted by the memory.
Yeah.
That's kind of the idea behind it. And throughout the song, I sing about like going through the day and just seeing this ghost, like I saw the ghost again last night. Is what it's talking about. So to translate that, I was having to deal with memories that I can't get rid of last night. Yeah, pretty much like that.
Yeah,
that one was probably one of the most interesting ones. That one was just acoustic. One of the only two.
It's very pretty. Dude. Yeah, it's very pretty.
One of the only 2 acoustic songs on the album. The 5th song on the album is a cover. But I felt like it was the perfect fit for the album, and I'll kind of get to that in a second. But it's Long White Line by Sturgill Simpson.
Mm-hmm. Not a long white line.
Yeah, that is a very country song. It's an old trucker song about a girl breaking his heart, so he just skips town, takes to the road, and just looking for the end of the long white line. Is you're looking at the white line on the highway, you're never going to find the end of it.
Yeah.
So he's just going and going and going until he forgets the woman. I felt like that was a perfect follow-up to My Life Ain't a Damn Love Song and The Ghost.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect follow-up to that. But me and Jake helped me out a lot on that. He did great on that, too. There wasn't a song he didn't do good on. But we made it more rock than country.
Yeah, I picked that up, too, when I listened to your album the first time. I was like, that's a fucking refreshing take right there. That's nice.
I did the acoustic lead, and he did the electric lead. So for anyone listening, he did the better. But the 6th song on the album, this one was probably one of the more popular songs I wrote. It was called What Would Jesus Do? And I wrote that the week of the George Floyd incident.
Yeah, that's also like spiritually, politically, the undertones are crazy.
Yeah.
And like that song is also like beautiful. A beautiful song, like your lyricism, the story, what it means.
Yeah.
Like, cause like the first time I'd ever heard that song, I was like, cause it was in kind of like a heated political climate too. It was back when like last year when like police brutality was like fucking the main storyline in the U.S. news for like 8 months. And I was like, there's no way this song isn't at least a little bit to do with that.
Yeah. Oh, it had everything to do with it. But like my whole thing behind that was I got the idea for it the week of the George Floyd incident. I went to my grandparents' house, and they live on Smith Lake in Coleman. So I went downstairs for bed, and I was just thinking about that. I was like, I've got to write a song about this. And I kind of wanted to think about it like the word or the lyrics go, what would Jesus do? Why would people judge someone because of their skin color? Jesus wouldn't want that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like I had to blend it together, really equate it to y'all can fight, keep fighting and everything, but we don't need to be pretty much.
Yeah.
But so that one I wrote, that would have been 2020 because COVID had just started.
Yeah.
It was 2020. The next song after that, I feel like was a very good follow-up. This one is probably my most personal song, and it's called Trust in Me.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect follow-up to What Would Jesus Do? Because it's a gospel song.
Yeah.
It's not really it's country, kind of country rock, and it keeps the same sound of the album's cohesive with it, but it's a gospel song.
Mm-hmm.
And that song was probably one of the quickest songs I ever wrote. I wrote it in about 30 minutes. Like I mentioned, with Jackson's help, I was able to write the other one in 30 minutes. But usually, on average, it would take me about an hour to complete a song's lyrics and everything.
Yeah.
That one I wrote in 30 minutes. And the story behind it is I have always struggled with just kind of worrying about stuff, trying to control stuff, worrying about what the future holds. You name it. Worrying.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But there's been so many times where God has shown me that I need to trust in Him. And every single time He's been right. Every time I've been too short on cash to pay a bill or something, somehow He has made a way. All to explain a story on that, I had to miss a day of work to go take care of some business at my grandparents' house. This was a month ago.
Yeah.
And I was worried because I had like a good bit of bills due. It was like at the end of the month, and I missed a day of work.
Yeah.
Well, the next day, I was just like, I'm going to go see my grandparents. I don't get to see them much. They're getting older, probably for the best. The next day, I got tipped enough at work and made time, like 1.5 more times than I would have if I would have worked that day.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that is not a coincidence. It's never happened in the 7 years I've worked there.
Wow.
But just stuff like that. And there's a line in the to start the second verse that goes, before I pulled out my white flag and ran, God opened my eyes to His plan. What that pretty much equates to is before you give up and whether it be commit suicide, whether you give up completely and just, go into where you just can't function, panic attack, something like that, which I've been there. I've been in a rough spot before. And then it's just it's a supernatural thing. You just can't fathom it. There's no way that me in that down state by myself could have brought myself out of that. That was a help from a power above me.
Yeah.
That was Jesus right there. But that song definitely hit home, and it's pretty much why there's a in the chorus it says, "You ain't alone in this life. Look all around at the birds in the sky, the flowers on the ground." Just stuff like that. That's pretty much if I created the whole world, this little problem you're having is pretty little compared to the whole grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
And if I had the power to create everything you see, you're good. As long as you trust in me. That's what that song's about.
Yeah.
I wrote it. It was one of the last songs I wrote for the album. I wrote it April, about the same month, I believe. But that song has been probably my favorite on the album, just on a personal level. The next song after that's perfect follow-up to it is called What I Want You to Know. Now that song,
I remember when you released that.
yeah,
That one's some shit.
that
you
one,
got a lot of people saying on the Facebook and Instagram, they were like, "Damn, this is beautiful."
yeah,
This is a good ass song.
that one. I'll tell the story behind it because I've never really told this story out loud. I wrote it in a way where anyone could relate to it, whether you be singing to your girlfriend or a girl to their husband or boyfriend or a family member or your best friend or something like that, you have a disagreement and things go south. It's one of those things like, oh, I realized maybe I was wrong. I was being too prideful, and I forgive you, and I'm sorry it took me so long to forgive you. But that was about my mother, because I definitely didn't see eye to eye with her growing up. It was rough in the house and everything like that. And it took me years to, but there was a night when I went to the beach with Jake, and Jake and Austin band were there with me. They came to visit. And we had a discussion. I mean, we got on up till like 3 a.m. talking about like just all the problems in our life, stuff like that. And it just kind of hit me. It was like, if she were to die tomorrow, I would have not been able to tell her how I really felt about her, if that makes sense. Because deep down, I knew she loved me. It was just, it was so hard to forgive her and stuff. So I called her the next day and like apologized and told her like I forgive her for everything she's done. And when I got home, when I got to Jake's house, I wrote that song. It takes the record for the fastest written song, 15 minutes. That whole song was written.
Wow.
15 minutes. But that was into 2020 when I wrote that one. And the next song after that, and stop me if y'all have any questions or anything. I'm just kind of rambling.
No, you're good. You're good. But I'm enjoying it because it's not every day we get to sit down and like get to understand where the shit came from.
Yeah.
And like, the amount of personal, like the amount of personal growth and like personal triumph and like the things like that you can see and hear in these songs, especially after we know, like when we can realize like, holy shit, that is what is going on. And like, it's kind of special to see that too, because like knowing you back then to like knowing you now, we can like see that progression.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, it's wild that we're finally getting to understand.
Yeah, everything comes
where your
together
head was
much,
at 2 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, to be honest, the past few years hadn't been easy. I mean, I've had ups and downs and stuff like that, mentally and all that. But I'd say this year has definitely been the biggest. Like I hadn't been more at peace in a while, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But the next song after that was "Keep On Moving." That's one of them.
On moving.
That was the first single I released on Apple Music. Now that it's the second oldest on the album, not including the cover. But out of the ones I wrote, "Old Soul" was the oldest, and "Keep On Moving" was the second. I wrote it February of 2019 with my cousin Grayson, and I sat on that for years, and decided in 2020 like, that was a pretty good song.
Because we had never played it at a show, I don't think, but we had practiced it a couple times with the band, and that shit was banging, bro. Like that shit was kind of good.
Yeah.
Like not even kind of good. That shit was good. Like it was a fun jam. When you opened it up at the end and we would just jam on it, that was fun. When you brought it back into the choruses, that shit was fun. Like everything about that song is fun.
Yeah, it's one of the most upbeat songs on the whole album. And it definitely has its place at the end of the album because, you know, like I mentioned, I'd kind of come back to this. First, you got Old Soul. That kind of sets the groundwork. Duel with the Devil. You get your first problems. My Life Ain't a Dang Love Song. Problem. The Ghost. Problem. Long White Line. Getting over the problem. Then it gets more introspective. What would Jesus do? Trust in me. Me kind of making amends in what I want you to know. And then Keep On Moving is kind of the start of the release, the end of it.
Yeah.
Like it's an upbeat, like things have happened to me, but I'm going to keep it moving. It's definitely a kind of bluesy rock song.
Yeah.
But that one was one of the most fun for sure to make. Jake.
So I imagine when you did get the inspiration for that, since it was fun, it was like spitfire fast. Like
great. My cousin Grayson co-wrote that with me too. We went on a trip to the mountains and he co-wrote that one. That was definitely, and it was kind of a random one. Like the inspiration hit me and I was like, okay. Like, and he he'd feed little phrases, and I'd be like, what would go? That was kind of one of the more methodical ones to write. Like it didn't flow as easy as some of the others, but it worked out. And with his help, I was able to really piece it together. Nice. And the last song on the album is another one that I feel like it's kind of slept on. It's what's the song's name? We're All Going Somewhere Fast. I can't even remember my own song name. We're All Going Somewhere Fast. I wrote that in the mountains the next year. When was it? No, it was 2021. Yeah, because me and my cousin went in February 2021, right before I went to Daytona Beach and wrote Duel with the Devil. Cool. But it's the conclusion of the whole album. It's like you're trying to really soak everything in life. Like, yeah, I got these problems and everything. But let's not focus on successes. Let's not beat ourselves up over stuff that's happened, maybe mistakes we've made in the past. Let's really enjoy our lives and give props to the one who gave us our life, because we're all going somewhere fast, which means we're all going to die.
Yeah.
We're all going to die. So.
That is some shit.
Yeah.
That is some shit.
But somehow, even though it's so profound and serious, like that sounds morbid almost.
Yeah.
I made it in a way where it's pretty upbeat and like peaceful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like, I think those are some of the best songs that artists can make too. Is like when they take serious shit and make it into a situation that can be read either way.
Yeah.
Like, fucking, there's a song that I'm thinking of right now. It's by a female artist. I just can't remember the fucking artist specifically. Mm-hmm. But it talks about like addiction. Yeah. And like some of the lyrics are really fucking wild. Like you wouldn't expect this shit to be in like a more upbeat, major happy feeling song. Yeah. And I'm like, I got to really listen to this shit one day after just like hearing it for a couple years. Like actually sat down and comprehended the fucking lyrics, and I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. Like,
it'll hit you.
Like, I'm like, this should be a slow piano, like Adele type fucking thing, and it's not at all.
Yeah.
So it's wild. I think those are some of the best songs though, is when you can take a situation and morph it into something that's positive, especially like with the sound. I think that's like some of the best shit you can do.
So I felt like it was definitely a great way to conclude the album. And a lot of people won't think about this, but if you're wanting your album to be like a whole like almost concept, it's important in what order. Like I wanted people to start on track one, listen to it all the way to the end, hear my story pretty much. Mm-hmm. I feel like it was the perfect order to tell my story. Even though all the songs were written at different times, it all pieced together. Yeah. And it was almost like it was a timeline. But there's one more song that wasn't on the album. I wrote it well after the album was released. I wrote it last September. Mm-hmm. So not even a year ago. It's called Boardwalk Blues. I don't know if
I do.
That one was about a girl that I kind of dated last summer, and at the end of the summer, it was a big ordeal, but it broke my heart for sure. And our last date, we went to Buffalo Wild Wings in Gadsden, and you know how they have the boardwalk right there. We sat on the boardwalk, and like the lights on the bridge, everything was like perfect. I was sitting there thinking like, this is perfect. But then just as soon as you got it, it gets taken away. Yeah. For good reason. I mean, at the time I didn't understand it, but like I said, the Lord will show you make you understand things months, if not years down the road that happened. That was for the best. I'm so thankful it happened. But I did get a good song out of it. I wouldn't trade the girl I'm with for the world, man. Yeah. So I'm glad she showed me her true colors early.
Yeah.
But that song like I said, Boardwalk Blues is about the Gadsden Boardwalk.
Mhm.
And what's interesting, I'll tell you how I got the inspiration for it. Of course, I got the inspiration for it for what happened, but I didn't really think about writing songs for it until I went to an Eric Church show. I went to 3 Eric Church shows on this last tour. The first one was in Lexington, Kentucky. Me and Grayson went to Lexington just for the heck of it. Like, we're going to go see Eric Church. And it was the opening of the tour after COVID and everything. So it was like,
I bet
I've
it
got to go.
fucking rowdy,
It
dude.
was amazing. But there's a song that Eric Church has on his latest project called Leonard Skinner Jones, and he mentions there's a lyric that says Leonard Skinner Jones hailed from Gadsden, Alabama.
Yep.
And for some reason, when he said that, I thought about the moment that we were sitting on the boardwalk in Gadsden, Alabama,
Mhm.
and the word boardwalk hit. Like, I thought about the boardwalk, and there's another part of that Eric Church song where he's like, Leonard wasn't black and white. He was somewhere in between. Throw in abandoned and confused, you get the blues at just 13. And the blues hit. So I was like, Boardwalk Blues. It was over.
Hell yeah.
When I got home, I wrote that thing in probably an hour. And what's interesting about it is it's very different. It wouldn't have fit into the album at all.
No, yeah, I agree.
It was like it honestly sounded like something like Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
Well, it was a rock song. It was not in any way, shape, or form country. It was like almost like an arena rock, Pearl Jam kind of vibe. Like you'd hear it like at BJCC or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was definitely one of my favorites right there.
That is a good one. Especially because I thought you were done after that album.
Yeah.
And then you released that, and I was like, fuck yes. Like, this is some good shit.
And if y'all are cool with me going a little deeper into the lyrics of that one, there's lines on it where it's like, it's pretty, like it starts at the beginning, like I guess it was sometime in mid-July when I couldn't even believe my eyes, and I saw the most beautiful girl I'd met up to that point at least. But then it kind of hits the chorus, like moonlight in her hair. Moonlight in her hair. I'm trying to even remember the lyrics of the song. Warmth in the air. I can't remember the lyrics of my own song. Anyways, everything was good, and it's like now those, and it goes to bad, and like now those Gadsden nights will never be the same.
Mm-hmm.
And then towards the end of the song, like in the middle verse, it's really like a nostalgic feel, looking back at that moment and everything, like missing it. And then at the end, the last chorus of the song, it's like a moonlight behind the clouds, and the only sound is the beating of my heart. And a cold wind blows tonight instead of being warm.
Yeah.
And now them Gadsden nights have never been the same. So it all concludes on like, not only was the memory amazing and warm and the moonlight, it was a clear night, to my emotions are pretty blue right now. It's cold.
Yeah.
It's cloudy. Can't see the moonlight. I'm sitting here on this boardwalk by myself thinking about it. So I felt like that was a very, lyrically, one of my best songs, for sure.
Yeah, the storytelling in that is
Yeah.
very good. Very fucking good. And I can, now that you say that, like, that transition from kind of the warmth and lightness and stuff into the blueness and the coldness of the scenario and the situation, like, it does make sense. Like, I'm glad you told us about that, because, like, going back and listening to it now, I'm going to think way differently than I was thinking before.
Yeah.
And, like, I'll have that extra appreciation for that.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, as well as every other song on the album, too, because there are some that really surprised me. Like, I Want You to Know.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know that was, like, about your mom and, like,
Mhm.
how you needed to forgive her and shit like that. Like, and, like, I wrote, this is wild that you say that, because, like, a couple months ago, like, 2 or 3, I was kind of going through that same shit internally, where it's like, my grandparents are getting old. I feel like I haven't told my family I love them enough. Like, me and my brother are just now starting to get on good terms, because we really didn't, like, we didn't have, like, the same friends or growing up, and I didn't, like, I was kind of a shitty older brother to him growing up and everything, you know, picking on him all the time and fucking messing with him and shit. And, like, I just had this, like, one day, or, like, this, like, stretch of day, like, probably about 5 days, where I was, like, super fucking depressed. And like, just thinking to myself, like, I wish there was some way I could tell my family that I'm sorry for not telling them enough. And like, I'm sorry for not being the son, grandson, brother, nephew that I need to be. So like, I wrote a song. It's not released yet, but it will be very soon.
Oh yeah, I'm excited.
But it's like kind of telling them like,
That's gonna be nice.
all my, like, the intro is like, I'm sorry to all my friends and family. I'm sorry. And then it's like, it's going to be called Deep In. And then the first couple lines of the hook is, don't fall in the deep end. You never know if you make it out how far you'll go. Don't fall in the deep end. How far you go. What you made of. And it's something about like, when it's time to show your true colors, then we'll know. And it's like, kind of, I don't know how to. So, like when your family member does something to you that you resent them for a little while, you just can't forgive them for that type shit. And then like, I was listening to, oddly enough, J. Cole song. It's off his newest album, The Off Season. And he had a lyric, and this is what inspired the whole song. Because I was listening to that song while I was depressed, trying to get myself out of the funk at work. And so he said, sleep is the cousin of death, no plans to doze off. And I was like, yeah, fucking sleep on that one, mother. Yeah. Like, so he said that shit, and I paused the song, and I was at work in the lab. I was just sitting there, and it was after I ran a test. So I had some free time, and I was like, this living shit that we do, like the only thing that bridges the gap between waking up every day and being conscious and being permanently like deleted, like dead, is sleep. Like sleep is the closest thing a conscious human can get to death without actually dying. So like, I was like this living shit is insane. And then that's where the first lyric in the verse came from, is it's living insane. Living is insane, and death is cousins with sleep. When you wake up, don't fall in too deep. Fear stops us from living a life worthwhile. Living with purpose seems to stop the spiral. Yeah. So like that shit.
That's good.
Yeah. So like all that shit, it was like a way of me telling my family like, my eyes are open, like metaphorically, like my eyes are open. I can see all the shit that I'm sorry for, and I realize now that without your family and your friends, or something other than yourself, you have no purpose. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
You're
like,
right, yeah.
Like, I'm sorry for all of this shit, but that's just like something to relate with. Cause I haven't really talked. Yeah, I haven't really talked about it out loud either, but that is where like some of the best shit comes from, is like the vulnerability. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like being able to open up and be like, I'm not perfect. I'm actually kind of fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, and I'm sorry for it. I feel like that's really that's dope as hell.
That is awesome, man. Yeah.
Well, go for it. Well, getting into wrapping up the interview, Ryan, do you have anything we can be on the lookout for that's coming soon?
I will say this. I can't say anything about it.
I love that. I will say this. I can't say it.
That's the hint.
Yeah, okay.
The answer is no.
But it's not yes.
Yeah. Wink. Just keep your eyes peeled. That's all I got to say there.
As long as it's not a no, man, I'm down with
that.
Well, let's get going around with our socials. I'm gonna start on the right.
I mean, you start on the left because I need to pull up my Instagram. I don't even remember what my Instagram is.
Like I was saying at the beginning of the podcast episode, TFS Prod Official _ Chink on Instagram, TFS Productions on Facebook, Jay Stone, Onyx Corwin on Spotify. For some reason, Apple Music for artist support, you need to work on your shit, because I can't change my name. And I need to be able to change. Yeah, dude, it's still Jay Stone. And I tell everybody, look up Onyx Corbin on all platforms. They're like, there's no Onyx Corbin on Apple Music.
Damn.
Yeah. So like Jay Stone on Apple Music, Onyx_Corwin, I think, on Instagram. You ain't getting my snap. Sorry. I think my Twitter handle is still Jay Stone. Gotta change that. I don't y'all Twitter tweeters be confusing me out there. It's like fucking Tumblr.
Yeah,
It's weird, dude. I don't understand. Like people say the dumb. They're like, I did an experiment one. Just quick story. I did an experiment one time on Twitter. Right. I posted something serious and heartfelt. Got no response, no likes, no comments, no retweets. And then the very next tweet, I posted, macaroons look like pretty patties. I bet they taste like it too. 8 likes, 2 retweets, fucking 3 comments within the first 15 minutes of that shit being posted. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? But anyway, follow me on Twitter, JStone, Onyx Corwin. If it's changed by the time this releases, probably won't be. I don't Twitter tweet. I might start getting on my YouTube, doing some beat stuff on there soon. Onyx Corwin on there, since I'm a producer as well and an artist. Be looking out for a music video edited by this man right here to my left, DJ Big Dooley. Edited, featuring Kid Kent, shot by Grim Films. Thank you, Different, DIIFRNT. He's a very talented artist, works with Cutler Studios. Yeah, man, that's my socials. That's what I got going on.
My socials, you can find me on Instagram at DJ Big Dooley. No spaces, no underscores, nothing like that. Just all is one. But y'all don't forget about the Nest tomorrow night by the time this airs. So we got the Nest coming up.
9 to 2, bitches.
Really, the only thing I've got is Instagram. Y'all ain't get my snap either. But it's rlang_98, and it's pretty laid back. I mean, it doesn't really look like a business or music page or anything, but I always post my music and stuff on there. So
yeah, big time.
Y'all can follow me on there.
Hell yeah.
I'm at Austin B Green on Instagram. That's about the only place you can find me. So with that being said, that's a wrap up on this interview with Ryan Lang. You, the viewers and listeners, heard it all here first. This has been a 256 production. I'm Austin Green, your host, and we will see you on the next one.
Yes, sir. We out.